Guys, what's going on? I hope you guys are well. I hope you guys are staying safe. Guys, I had to put a hat on because my hair's looking really bad. Getting it cut tomorrow, hopefully. But yeah, it's looking really bad, so I can't do videos with my hair out anymore. So tomorrow, hopefully, I have it cut, and then you won't be able to see my hair or beard. But yeah, I want to get straight into this video. Guys, what's going on with Keith Thurman? What's going on with Errol Spence? What's going on with Terence Crawford? But what's going on with Keith Thurman? The guy hasn't fought since he's fought Manny Pacquiao, and I don't know what's going on with his career. I don't know what his ambitions are. I don't know what he wants from the sport. All I see him is now, breaking down other fights. I see him talking about fighting, but I don't see him negotiating a fight. I don't see any. I just feel his career's rotted away. I think Keith Thurman had so much ability and there was so much hope for Keith Thurman that he was going to go on to be this big star. And unfortunately, it's just not materialized. He became a unified champion. And listen, he's had a good career. He's had a good career. You become a unified welterweight champion, that's nothing to sneeze at. That's a great career. But when you think about all the promise and all that was expected from Keith Thurman, it's kind of been a bit of it's kind of been a bit bitter, really. Keith Thurman, especially these last couple of years, have been very poor. After the Danny Garcia fight, his career just completely went downhill, really. And he was, for me, he was trying to cash out with the fight with Manny Pacquiao. He was looking for that big payday, and he thought that Manny Pacquiao would be an easy fight due to his age, and it backfired, and he got beat. He thought, I'm very confident he thought he'd beat Pacquiao easy. And now the division has just become Spence and Crawford. Everybody else is behind. Now you got some young kids like Ennis and Ortiz coming through. But these other guys like Garcia, you would say probably Porter's the third. I think Manny Pacquiao's obviously there, but Manny Pacquiao's 43 now. He's coming towards the end, and it looks like he's going to be fighting Mikey. But there seems like Crawford and Spence have created a distance between themselves and everybody else. Maybe Pacquiao, depending on where he's at in his career, how he is physically, where's Pacquiao at, we don't know. He's at this stage in his career. Keith Thurman was a guy that people thought could beat Spence or Crawford. Unfortunately now, I want to see Keith Thurman fight Terence Crawford because I believe that's a big fight. I believe that would be a very dangerous fight for Crawford. Especially 1 or 2 years ago, I thought that I would definitely have said that's a 50-50 fight. Keith Thurman's a very good boxer and he can crack. But unfortunately, Keith Thurman has just gone off the scene. He's gone off the scene. He's nowhere to be seen. And because of the inactivity and the fact that Keith Thurman is day by day becoming irrelevant, right? He's living on his past now. The fact that people call him a top welterweight is because of what he did in the past. Let's not forget, after the Danny Garcia fight, right, Keith Thurman fought Lopez, right, and almost got stopped, right, against Lopez, looked terrible, then fought Manny Pacquiao and lost. Yes, he put in a decent performance, but yes, he was also favored. A lot of people had him favorite in that fight. Manny Pacquiao was an old man, so he wasn't fighting a young Manny Pacquiao. So at the end of the day, for me, Keith Thurman's career is on the slide, and he needs to do something big to resurrect his career, because otherwise, for me, his career is sliding away. And I think a fight with Terence Crawford makes a lot of sense. Financially, it would, I think, do some good numbers, and also I think it's a fight that could get Keith Thurman back on track. I think it's a fight where, stylistically, when I look at it, right, it's a great fight. I think you've got two good boxers. You got one guy that I believe is a bigger puncher in Thurman. I think Thurman hits harder, although Crawford has been looking quite sensational of late at welterweight. He's been beating guys up, knocking guys out. He's stopping guys, he's hurting guys. But I do think Keith Thurman will be, or should be, I don't know. Again, I don't know where Keith Thurman's at. Is Keith Thurman another washed-up fighter like maybe Kell Brook and Amir Khan were? Is Keith Thurman, gone over the hill now and he's not the fighter he was? But if Keith Thurman is what he was, or even 85% of what he was, you could think that he would give Crawford a lot of trouble. Because like I said, he is very explosive. Keith Thurman's a big puncher, but what makes him dangerous, he's very explosive. He explodes into life. You know, we saw that with Danny Garcia in the first round, where he almost knocked Garcia out with that explosive right hand. So yeah, he is very explosive, Keith Thurman. He's a good boxer also. So for me, if Keith Thurman can get his act together, get himself back together, I think he should push for that Crawford fight. Because really, where's Keith Thurman gonna go now? Well, what's there out there for him? Not a lot. So if Keith Thurman believes that, you know, he can get back to the top and get back, you know, to where I believe and a lot believe he can get back to, then I believe that fight with Terence Crawford makes it a very interesting fight, and I believe Keith Thurman is capable. If you telling me the Keith Thurman that fought Danny Garcia, that Keith Thurman is capable of beating Terence Crawford. I'm not saying he will, but he's capable. Big puncher, good boxer, bigger welterweight. You see, Terence Crawford hasn't really fought a big welterweight that's very skilled, that's a good skilled boxer near around their prime. Right? He fought Khan, he fought Brook, Benavidez and Horn. Yeah, they were big, but I don't know how skilled they were at the point. And they've never been world champions. They've never been guys at the top. Brook and Khan were obviously... Khan's not really a big welterweight. Brook was a big welterweight, but Brook was finished at that point he fought him. So it's hard to really say. But if Keith Thurman is 85% of what he was in that Garcia fight, trust me, he's a dangerous opposition for Terence Crawford, just because of the punch power, the explosive punch power that Thurman's got. Thurman can punch, right? And if that right hand that hit Danny Garcia hit Terence Crawford, Crawford will be in big trouble, trust me. You know, if Kavalauskas can hurt Crawford, then Keith Thurman can hurt Crawford. Thurman has got explosive power. It's just getting a deal or structuring a deal to get these guys in the ring, because Keith Thurman would want a lot of money for that fight. Keith Thurman already, you know, wanted 10 million when they were negotiating previously, and that obviously would be ridiculous, because we know that Crawford fights are not going to be able to pay Thurman 10 million. So if Thurman comes and is reasonable about this fight, then this fight could be made. And I think it's a big fight. I think it's a good fight. I think it's a good fight for the fans. I think it's a good fight for the welterweight division. And it's a good fight for Terence Crawford, because people would be looking at this fight as a 60-40 fight in his favor. And a lot of people would be giving Keith Thurman a chance to win. There'll be some people out there that think that Keith Thurman could pull this off. And it would be seen as the toughest test at welterweight for him. And to be honest with Crawford, every fight he has, barring the Kavalauskas fight, was seen as the toughest fight. You know, Benavidez was seen as the toughest fight at welterweight. Then he fought Khan, and that was seen as the toughest fight at welterweight. Then he fought Brook, and that was seen as the toughest fight. And Keith Thurman would be kind of in the same boat, where it would be seen as the biggest and toughest fight. And Keith Thurman would probably be the most proven welterweight he would fight. But the most difficult thing about this fight is making the fight, because like I said, Keith Thurman right now won a lot of money, because Keith Thurman's at that stage in his career where another loss and he kind of becomes a gatekeeper. So just because of the fact that he lost to Manny Pacquiao, and then if he was to fight Crawford, take another L, especially the fact that he hasn't fought since Pacquiao. And I don't know what Keith Thurman's doing. I don't know where Keith Thurman's at, because there's no talk about a fight. You know, we're hearing about Manny Pacquiao fighting. He's 43. We're hearing about rumors about his next fight, but we're not hearing anything about Keith Thurman. We're not hearing anything about Keith Thurman, and that's obviously... That's sad for a guy that was at one point seen as maybe a top 10 pound for pounder, as a guy that was seen as a guy that could have been the #1 welterweight in the world, as a guy that had a lot of promise, and a guy that was seen as a guy that could potentially go and dominate the division, has just fell away. You know, after the Danny Garcia fight, he got injured and 2 years out, and then excuses and all kinds of excuses. He becomes... You know, a lot of fight fans now view Keith Thurman differently than what he was viewed maybe 4 or 5 years ago. You know, when Keith Thurman became a unified champion, beat Danny Garcia, Keith Thurman was viewed as a killer. he was viewed as the #1 welterweight in the division. Now, he's not viewed like that. Now he's just viewed as a gatekeeper, as a guy that's just living off his past. Because really, what has Keith Thurman done lately? Nothing. You know, struggled. Like the Danny Garcia win, when was that? 2017? That's almost 4 years ago. Was it 2000? Yeah, it was 2017. Was it 2016? I can't even remember. It was that long ago, right? And his fights after that was a win against Lopez in a fight where he could have been stopped. And Lopez, like I said, is not a top welterweight. And Lopez almost had him out. Then he lost to Manny Pacquiao. So this is what he's done of late. And his last fight was in 2019, almost 2 years ago. So Keith Thurman hasn't done a lot of late, has he? He's not done a lot of late. And for me, he needs to get back onto the horse. And the only way I think he can do that is he needs a big win. That's why I think a fight between him and Terence Crawford makes a lot of sense. I don't know whether Keith Thurman would jump straight into the ring with someone like Terence Crawford right away. I believe Crawford would take that fight at a heartbeat, just because Crawford would look at it as a big opportunity to showcase his skills against people who would say that Keith Thurman's an elite welterweight. But yeah, is it going to be another case where Terence Crawford is going to be fighting a guy like Amir Khan and Kell Brook, where they're kind of past their sell-by date? He's probably, if he beats him comfortably, that's what people are going to say. So it's kind of like, again, another lose-lose for Crawford. He doesn't get any kind of credit for beating Thurman. But if he looks bad, then people will say, he's over a hype job. He's fought nobody, and now he stepped up against somebody and he's looked terrible. So it's kind of one of them ones for Crawford. It's a lose-lose. Unless Crawford fights Spence, you know, he's not going to get any credit in this welterweight division. So that's why I think the welterweight division is now spread thin. There's one fight that people, the boxing fans, want to see, and that's Crawford Spence. Everything else is going to be seen as like, yeah, it's a good fight, but it's a fight that, you know, the guy that Crawford and Spence are expected to win. For example, if Crawford was to fight Manny Pacquiao, yeah, it's a good fight. But if Crawford wins, well, Pacquiao was past his best. If Manny Pacquiao troubles him, look, Crawford wasn't what he was, you know, he's a hype job. So it's kind of one of them. Until Crawford fights Spence, he's not going to get his credit in this welterweight division now. So that's why that fight is so important. Because it needs to be made for both guys' legacy. But unfortunately, it's just not. I don't think it's going to be made. And I think the next best thing for Crawford will probably be Keith Thurman. Because Manny Pacquiao doesn't look like he's going to fight Crawford. It looks like, although Manny Pacquiao has said, which I'll do a video about, that he's not ruling out Terence Crawford, but he's leaning towards Mikey. So I think the next best fight, although they're talking about Porter, I just think Keith Thurman would be more financially lucrative, and Keith Thurman, for me, is a better fighter. Whether he is at this point, I don't know, but I still think he would be seen as a better win than Sean Porter, and he's beaten Sean Porter. So leave your thoughts, guys. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Is it a fight that you are interested in? Do you want to see Keith Thurman v Terence Crawford? Do you think it will be a big fight? Do you think Keith Thurman is capable of beating Terence Crawford? Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Let me know what you think, guys. And guys, remember to please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.